You see, the real crisis has a price. Now, many times I have referred us to Deuteronomy 28, and I think we need to go and have a look at Deuteronomy 28 again. And then you'll see a little bit more detail about this crisis. You know, it's saying, verse 3, blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. In verse 2 it said, all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord your God. But are we being blessed in the field, and are we being blessed in the city? Of course we are not. People are terrified to go out of their houses. Blessed shall be the fruit of the body, our children, the fruit of our ground. Well, I can tell you, this bad weather is causing havoc right down to Florida. They're worried about their citrus plants, which have been hit over the last few years by frost and all sorts. They've got it again. The fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep. Well, they're doing factory farming now, that we allow a chicken to occupy the size of an A4 sheet of paper. That size. For the 40 days of its miserable life. Do you think God isn't interested in the animal kingdom which He made? Do you think we are being blessed? Don't we realize that this is all part of the real crisis? The whole of nature is in crisis, and we are doing our best to aggravate the situation. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. You know, blessed, we're terrified to go out, and then we're terrified to come in. That's when we come in we find that we've been burgled, as has happened to me on more than one occasion. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways. Is that happening? Is that happening in Iraq? Is that happening in Afghanistan and anywhere we decide to put our foot in? Well, I can tell you it is not. It says in verse 8 of Deuteronomy 28, the Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses and in all that thou settest thine hand unto. And He shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. But in Daniel, when we started out in Daniel. And we said there in Daniel that it's the basest of men. And the basest of men are doing the most wicked things. Whether it be government or church, it makes no difference. The Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever He will, and setteth up over it the basest of men. We now have a set of Catholic priests saying that, you know, all this pedophile activity, we should blame the children. They were asking for it. But this is a common thing. When people are raped, they say, oh, blame the woman. Now, in one case in the United States, the judge has banned them using the word rape in a rape case. And many other pertinent words have been banned. The case had to be abandoned. Let's continue. In verse 12. The Lord shall open unto thee His good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. It comes back again to blessing all the work of our hands. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. Are we? Are we lending to any nations? Or are we in debt up to here? Whether you're in Britain or America, it makes no difference. Individually, thousands of pounds. And you convert it to dollars, it's twice as many dollars per individual that we owe. to the other nations, the Gentiles, the Chinese, the Japanese, and who knows who else. I mentioned what was happening in the weather, these fierce Arctic storms, the rain at the wrong time. Here we are told you'd get it in its season. It's not happening in its season. The Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. We are now the most despised, hated people on the planet. You know, it continues down and says, but if you disobey, if you choose to go your own way, and do not observe and do all the commandments, statutes, which I command thee this day, all these curses shall come upon you and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall thou be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kine, cattle, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in. Cursed shall thou be when thou go out. Isn't that our experience in reality? The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto, for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly. Why? Because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. This is the number one crisis in the world. Forget about the oil crisis. Forget about the global warming crisis and all the other crises that exist. Sort this major crisis out, and all the others will just vanish like a puff of smoke.